Welcome back. You're watching the Budget Centimeter. Mood of the nation: more jobs, cheaper education loans and cheaper gadgets. These three demands are on the top of the wish list of students across India. Nitya Balakrishnan visited the ISB campus in Hyderabad, and Kamala Sripada checked into the Lady Shri Ram College in Delhi to find out what young India wants from the finance minister.
We are just hours away from what many believe is like a litmus test budget of sorts for Finance Minister Jaitley. Because just a few weeks ago, we did see a bouncer of sorts in the form of demonetization. So if I were to ask you, what exactly are your expectations from the Union Budget 2017? If you had to keep a pulse on it, what would it be?
The prime areas of focus of this union budget has to be FMCG sector and agriculture, since in the month of November, these are the two major sectors that have taken a major hit because of demonetization.
I think the government should focus more on execution this time, and for Digital India, they should focus on enabling the infrastructure in the country.
I do think that the corporate tax rate will go down, especially because corporate India is also receptive to the fact that they want to move from a high tax, high concession structure to a single point direct structure.
There are speculations that Trump is going to reduce the corporate taxes going ahead. So in order to match the business sentiments and ensure that Make in India happens and people do not shift their bases to US, we need such sort of a tax cut.
The entire Digital India aspect that's taking place, it's very essential that apart from just the SMEs, we actually go down to the roots of India, to rural India, and educate people about how they can really, sort of make these transactions online.
We at CNBC gave you a direct hotline to the Finance Minister. What would you really seek from him this budget? So I want the microphone to go from him across right to you. So we are giving you a direct hotline to not block. What is your demand?
Do a lot more on Digital India.
Focus a lot on rural India.
Focus on existing schemes and invest more on that rather than focusing on launching new schemes.
Focus on innovation and mostly execution of all the initiatives.
Open more incubation centers wherein employment can be generated for the nation, as Narendra Modi has clearly pointed out.
Clean up the system, make it more attractive for foreign funds to invest. So there are some really good initiatives already running. Just find a way to let Startup India, Digital India work together holistically, incentivize, focus on education and also on the implementation of aspects.
I want my finance minister to come up with clearer tax reforms for foreign investments.
You've heard from the best and brightest young minds here at the Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, and pretty much what they're saying is very clear. Post-demonetization, Skill India, Digital India, Make in India, manufacturing in the country, infrastructure, education and focusing on rural India is pretty much what the youth of the country wants. But implementation of this while merging and ensuring that it's not just words that come from the government, but action actually follows on ground.
What does India want from Budget 2017? Now, to take that question, we are talking to the specific demographic in the national capital. We are talking to students of the Lady Shri Ram College. Thank you so much, all of you, for speaking with CNN News 18. I'm going to first begin by asking all of you, what are your expectations from this budget? What is that one thing you're looking forward from the Finance Minister's speech during the budget presentation?
We hear Arun Jaitley often talking about, enhancing infrastructure, and we're going to boost economic growth by, increasing government expenditure and private expenditure on infrastructure. But our idea is that what is happening to the existing infrastructure? So how are you monitoring that? What about the existing schemes in place? Is there a follow-up mechanism? Is there a monitoring mechanism for those? Are you allocating more and more money to that to enhance that? Because if you have to increase the efficiency of the economy, it would be better to work with the existing infrastructure rather than, keep spending money on coming up with new infrastructure.
In last year's budget, the allocation to healthcare was about 1.6 or 1.5%, which is abysmally low to achieve any sort of implementation goals or to see any sort of change in the economy as such. Currently, I think what experts recommend is at least 2.5% of allocation towards healthcare in India, and I think the global standards are 6%. So I think as students of economics or even as citizens, we're expecting that to go up.
Education expenditure is also extremely low for India, and for a country who's trying to reach a certain level of literacy, trying to create more jobs, have skill development, I think it's important to focus on those things.
All of you are final year students. What are your expectations from this budget when it comes to job creations? Are there any specific sectors that you're looking at going forward?
The startup business in itself is not doing really well, as a result of which a lot of companies that were like 2 years, 3 years old that were coming are not coming anymore. So probably trying to look at that, trying to harbor that kind of environment, good startup environment with enough capital.
I am of the opinion that job creation is required more at the lower income bracket levels than, levels at, which we study and where we graduate. We still happen to be very privileged to be studying in these universities, and we have companies coming to our college offering us jobs. But I think the fundamental problem in our country with respect to job creation is at the low level, where there are labor intensive industries not doing well, as a result of which the labor does not get absorbed.
So there you have it, jobs, jobs. That's a theme there as far as the young demographic is concerned. But interestingly, also saying that the government must allocate more capital for social sector schemes and for the social sector in general, whether it's education or healthcare, and implementation of existing schemes is critical. But speaking of students and jobs, the textile industry is one of the largest employers in the country. It employs about 45 million people. It contributes 14% to industrial production and 4% to the GDP. But the textile industry is struggling. Last year, the government announced a 6,000 crore rupee package, but the industry is calling out for more. Yash Jain visited the Mangaldas cloth market in Mumbai, which is one of the largest in the country, to find out what they want.
Well, the biggest economic reshuffle in the form of demonetization has definitely halted India's consumption story, and one of the worst hit section has been the section of wholesale traders. Now today we've come to Asia's largest wholesale cloth market, the Mangaldas cloth market here in Mumbai. Let's talk to some wholesale traders inside and try and understand what they expect from Finance Minister's budget briefcase.
जो बजट निकाले वो कस्टमर को नज़र से देख के निकाले, और जो टैक्सेस है 2.5 लाख का, उसको टैक्स को कम करके और उसकी सीमा बढ़ाई जाए 3.5 लाख, जो भी वो जितना पॉसिबल हो उतना करे।
ऐसा है कि भाई जो इंपोर्ट हो रहा है अपना चाइना, बांग्लादेश, तो ये सब इंपोर्ट होने से हमारे को उसमें नुकसान ही है। हम कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे, वो तो कुछ भी फैब्रिक्स कुछ भी सस्ते में डाल देते हैं इधर। तो हम चाहते हैं कि गवर्नमेंट इसके ऊपर जबरदस्त टैक्स लगावे और जो हम लोकल एक्सपोर्ट कर सके उसमें हमारे को अच्छी सी छूट दे दी जाए।
टेक्सटाइल मशीनरी लेटेस्ट इंपोर्ट करने के लिए भी उसको कुछ इंसेंटिव या सब्सिडी या लोन में कुछ राहत देवे तो अपना फायदा होएगा, क्योंकि क्वालिटी इंप्रूव होएगी, लेटेस्ट होएगा, प्रोडक्शन भी इंप्रूव होएगा, एंड दैट विल बी गुड फॉर द टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री।
वी वांट फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट के दे शुड टैक्स स्लैब इतना लो कर दें कि एवरीबडी शुड पे टैक्स।
जीएसटी इन लोग ने ला तो दिया है, लेकिन जीएसटी में ये मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा है किस पे क्या लगना। अभी हम कपड़े वाले हैं तो हमको ये नहीं मालूम ये यान पे लगना है या फैब्रिक्स पे लगना है या प्रोसेस पे लगना है या सिले हुए कपड़े पे लगना है, तो कितना लगेगा, क्या लगेगा, उसको क्लियर करना चाहिए और एक्चुअली कम से कम लगाना चाहिए ताकि व्यापार अच्छा करे।
Well, apart from tax incentives and SOPs for themselves, what's interesting this time around is that these wholesalers are also seeking measures which will leave more disposable income in the hands of consumers. And that's because they do realize that that's going to be something which will jumpstart consumption and also lift their financial fortunes.
Well, a cut in corporate tax and incentives to boost manufacturing, that's top of the list as far as small and medium enterprises are concerned ahead of the budget. Prabhakar Kumar caught up with a few businessmen in Patna who called for an end to Inspector Raj.
I'm joined by a group of localites here in Patna, the entrepreneurs, the businessmen, and they also have their hopes from the budget, and they're waiting for the D-Day to come.
We hope that it should be, the tax slab should be lower and the Inspector Raj should be finished, so that the people should have easy access to taxation system, and they should not face any problem with regard to tax compliance.
Traditionally, we are BJP hardcore supporters, but since the inception of BJP government, policies are not at all pro-business. Demonetization has led to cash crunch.
That's your observation, but what's the expectation from the budget?
Definitely, we'll expect movement of the cash should be ample. I will definitely believe that government should scrap all sort of subsidies, like interest payment of the loans of the farmers, or loans for the loans given to the traders.
फार्मर्स की सब्सिडी जो देती है या जो पुअर सेक्शन है जिनको सब्सिडी देती है वो हटा सकेगी सर? कैन एनी गवर्नमेंट अफोर्ड दैट?
एग्रीकल्चर साइड में ये इक्विपमेंट्स खरीदने के लिए और ये सब के लिए डायरेक्ट फार्मर्स को ये किया जाए, मिलना चाहिए।
ये इनका कहना है कि उसमें जो सब्सिडी मिलती है सरकार से वो हटा दीजिए क्योंकि उसका बर्डन इनको झेलना पड़ता है।
हाँ बिल्कुल, इसमें हम भी सहमत हैं।
फेज वाइज हटाया जाए, फेज वाइज हटाया जाए एंड जो भी बेनिफिट देना है किसानों को बैंकों में डायरेक्टली उनके खाते में दिया जाए, किसी माध्यम से ना दिया जाए, डायरेक्ट बैंक खाते में दिया जाए।
आपके कहने का मतलब है कि बेनिफिट रहे, सब्सिडी रहे, बट उसका मॉडल चेंज कर दिया।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, बेनिफिशियरी के बैंक खाते में जाए। एक और एस्पेक्ट है जो हम उम्मीद करते हैं बजट में आनी चाहिए, जो स्टूडेंट लोन जो बैंकों द्वारा एजुकेशन सेक्टर में दिया जा रहा है उस पर इंटरेस्ट रेट इतना ज्यादा है, जबकि बच्चों को पढ़ने के लिए हम लोगों को बैंकों के पास जाना पड़ता है। वहाँ इंटरेस्ट रेट आज भी 13% स्टेट बैंक की ऐसी बड़ी बैंकें ले रही हैं। जब तक ये इंटरेस्ट रेट कम नहीं होगा बच्चे कहाँ से ले पाएंगे? नौकरी मिल नहीं रही है, वो बेचारे पूंजी देंगे। उनको कम से कम इंटरेस्ट फ्री लोन, नहीं तो नॉमिनल इंटरेस्ट पर में एजुकेशन लोन मिलनी चाहिए।
Well, lower rates of interest as far as student loans are concerned and some other demands they're coming in from Patna. It's time now for us to take a short break here on the Budget Centimeter, the mood of the nation. But when we return, what do senior citizens and housewives want from Finance Minister Arun Jaitley? Their wish list when we get back.